When your wife starts dressing better, be careful. I learned the hard way. True marriage betrayal story. I'm Aaron, 35. My wife is Lena, 32. We've been married 7 years, no kids, a dog named Pixel who thinks he owns the sofa. We've always felt stable. Routine dinners, weekend hikes, shared playlists. Nothing dramatic. If you'd asked me 2 months ago, I would have called our marriage quiet and kind. Here's how the first hairline crack appeared. My mother noticed that my wife started dressing very nicely, and I thought she was simply very beautiful. My mother pointed out a new gold bracelet, a new watch, expensive shoes, and a designer handbag. Mom, Carol, 64, said it gently over tea like a weather report. Someone's upgrading her look, honey. I laughed it off. Lena had just landed a bigger role at her firm, so the wardrobe glow-up made sense. Lena shrugged when I asked. Promotion treat, she said, wiggling the bracelet. Secret Santa went wild on the watch. The bag was a crazy outlet deal. Shoes, don't judge me. She kissed my cheek, calling me detective, in that playful tone that usually melts my doubts. The twist came a week later, small but blinding. I noticed the bracelet had an engraving inside, tiny script easily missed. L, for the night we finally exhaled. November 4th. That date is burned into my brain because November 4th was the night I had emergency appendicitis. Lena had sworn she never left my hospital room except to grab coffee. We even joked later about how the vending machine ate her dollar. Seeing that date on a gift I didn't give her felt like a fire alarm in my ribs. I tried to be fair. People engrave nonsense. Maybe a thrift store quirk. I asked where it came from, casually, while we were folding laundry. She didn't blink. Co-workers pooled in for my promotion. Jeweler offered free engraving. They put the date I started this department. Isn't that sweet? 2 things. Lena started in September, not November. And when I lightly said, I thought you started September 10th, she smiled and said, oh, right, internal transfer paperwork is weird. Then she spun into a story about her new client, changed the subject, and slipped her phone into her robe pocket when it buzzed. I want to be the man who trusts. But the engraving kept humming in my head like a low-voltage shock. My mom's voice too. Upgrades rarely happen without an audience. A week after I noticed the engraving, I was still telling myself I was paranoid. We'd been happy, hadn't we? I bought her flowers, cooked, listened to her rants about work. We laughed. We still kissed. Nothing screamed affair. Until one Tuesday night when she came home late from a client dinner. She smelled different, not bad, just new. A faint citrusy perfume I'd never smelled before, and underneath that, a trace of someone else's cologne. I asked about it, she smiled, kissed my cheek and said, you notice everything. Maybe I should shower before you interrogate me, detective? Playful tone, same as always. She went upstairs. I stayed downstairs, sipping lukewarm coffee, trying to convince myself I was overthinking. Then her phone buzzed on the counter. Once, twice, then a third time. I glanced at it, I shouldn't have, I know, but the screen flashed a message preview. Same place next Thursday. Can't wait to see that smile again. No name. Just a heart emoji at the end. Something in me snapped and froze at the same time. I didn't open the message. I didn't need to. I just sat there looking at that glowing screen, feeling my hands go cold. I wanted to believe it was harmless, maybe an old friend, maybe an inside joke. I told myself I'd ask her calmly, directly. But when she came back downstairs in her robe, hair damp, humming, phone in hand, she saw my face and froze. What's wrong? She asked, her voice careful now. You got a message, I said. Someone can't wait to see your smile next Thursday. Her eyes flickered, not with guilt at first but calculation. Oh, that's just Trevor. The new project lead. He's a clown. We joke around like that. Does he send hearts too? She rolled her eyes. Ethan, it's 2025. People send emojis. It's not 1950. You really think I'd cheat on you over text? She kissed my forehead and said, I love you, you know that? Stop letting your imagination ruin what we have. Then she walked upstairs, humming again. But something about her calmness made it worse. It wasn't the reaction of someone falsely accused, it was the calm of someone who'd already rehearsed the lie. The next day she forgot her phone at home while rushing to work. For the first time in our marriage I did something I thought I'd never do. I opened it. I wish I hadn't. There were dozens of messages from T, not Trevor, but Trent. They weren't explicit but they didn't need to be. Phrases like, last night felt unreal, you looked like fire in that dress, and one that made my stomach turn, you smell like him when you leave and I love it. I put the phone down, closed it carefully and sat there in silence, my heart thudding so hard I could hear it. I wasn't angry yet, not even sad. Just hollow. That night I acted normal. Made dinner. Asked about her day. She smiled, laughed, kissed me goodnight, completely unaware that I already knew. And as she slept beside me, I stared at the ceiling and realized the truth. The woman I loved wasn't my wife anymore. She was a stranger wearing her face. The next evening I couldn't fake it anymore. Something in me had cracked wide open. Lena came home all sunshine and lipstick, dropped her purse on the counter and said, "Guess what? The firm's sending me to Miami next month." I just stared at her. With Trent? Her smile faltered just slightly, but she recovered fast. "Who?" "Don't do that," I said quietly. "Don't make me say it again." She froze, still holding her phone. "Aaron, what are you talking about?" "I know, Lena. The bracelet, the messages, the hotel charges. I know about him." She went pale, then flushed crimson. "You went through my phone? That's your concern right now?" Her voice got sharper, defensive. "Everyone flirts. It's harmless. You've been distant for months. What did you expect?" "I expected honesty," I said. "Not you sneaking around with your boss." She slammed her phone down. "Trent isn't my boss. He's my friend. He listens. You just come home and talk about bills and your mother's opinions." "My mother didn't buy you that bracelet, Lena." "He did." The silence stretched. Her eyes darted to the floor, then back to me. "Fine," she said finally, crossing her arms. "We kissed. What? It was stupid. But you're blowing it out of proportion. I saw the messages. The hotel receipts. It wasn't once." Her mask cracked then, her lip trembled, eyes wet. "I didn't mean for it to happen. He made me feel alive again. But it didn't mean anything. I love you, Aaron. Please don't throw us away over something like this." She stepped toward me, reaching for my hand, tears spilling now. "You're my husband. You're my home." I pulled away. "No, Lena. You made him your home." That's when she dropped to her knees right there on the kitchen tile, clutching my hands, sobbing. "Please, I'll end it. I'll delete everything. You can check my phone every day, I'll do anything. Just don't leave me." For a moment, my heart almost broke again, because I remembered the woman I married, the one who used to cry during sad movies, who once told me I made her feel safe. But then she whispered, "We can move past this like adults. No one has to know," and I saw it for what it was, damage control, not remorse. I stepped back. "You don't get to decide what I can live with." Her tears stopped instantly, like a switch flipped. Her face hardened. "So what, you'll just run to your mother? You'll tell her you're the victim again? Maybe she'll finally get what she wanted, me gone." That stung. I turned away, grabbed my coat and said, "You're right about one thing, Lena." She was right. She told me months ago, women don't start shining this bright unless someone's watching. As I walked out, she screamed after me, "You'll regret this, Aaron. You'll regret throwing away what we built." I didn't answer. But deep down I already knew, what we'd built wasn't real anymore. I spent that night on my parents' couch. My mom didn't ask questions at first. She just set a mug of tea on the table and sat beside me until I finally said, "You were right." Her face softened, but her eyes stayed sharp. "I wish I wasn't." Dad came downstairs halfway through, rubbing his eyes. "She finally showed her colors, huh?" He wasn't angry, just tired, like he'd seen this movie before. "Your mother told you months ago. Those bracelets, the late nights, nothing good ever follows that pattern." I nodded. I didn't have the energy to defend Lena anymore. The next morning she texted nonstop. First apologies, then pleading, then rage. "Please come home. Let's talk. I can't sleep without you. You're overreacting. It was a mistake. I'll tell HR I'm quitting, okay? You're really going to destroy our life over a few messages?" By afternoon the tone changed. "My mother says you've always been cold. You're turning into your dad, controlling and bitter." That one hurt more than it should have. My father was strict, sure, but faithful for 40 years. Lena using him like that, spitting his name into our argument, was low even for her. I didn't reply. I couldn't. But that night I opened my laptop, searching for divorce lawyers. I didn't even know what to look for, so I just typed infidelity legal advice. That's when I saw something that made my stomach drop. On her public company profile, her LinkedIn, of all things, someone had tagged her in a photo from a business trip 2 weeks earlier. She wasn't supposed to be in that picture. She was in the background, sitting beside Trent, hand on his arm, laughing. And behind them, on the table, was another familiar object, the same gold bracelet. The caption read, "Great conference weekend with the best team." She wasn't even hiding it anymore. I showed my mom. She pursed her lips and said quietly, "You know, her family was never the steady kind. Her dad left when she was a teenager and her mom, well, that woman could justify anything." I didn't want to hear that, but it clicked. Lena's mom once bragged to me that she never regretted having fun before marriage. Her tone was joking, but I remember how Lena's father's name never came up. That evening I called Lena. She picked up immediately. "Aaron. Thank God. I was just about to." "Stop," I said. "I saw the photos." Her voice faltered. "That was work. It's professional. You were holding his arm." She hesitated, then sighed. "Fine, it's complicated. But it's not what you think. You don't know him." "You're right," I said. "But I know you. And I don't recognize who you've become." She was silent for a long time before whispering, "If you tell anyone, it'll ruin me." That was when I realized she wasn't crying for love or guilt. She was crying because her image was at risk. And in that moment something inside me shifted. I wasn't the victim anymore. I was the man she underestimated. I hung up, blocked her number, and opened a new folder on my computer titled Proof. Because if she wanted to play games, I'd show her how the truth really feels. The next morning I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. I poured coffee, opened my laptop, and started organizing. Screenshots of her messages with Trent. Photos from her work trip. The hotel receipts that didn't match her client dinners. I even saved the engraving from the bracelet as a photo file, in case she tried to deny it later. It wasn't rage driving me anymore, it was purpose. I wanted to be smart, not loud. My lawyer, a calm man named Wallace, told me exactly what to do. Collect everything quietly. Don't warn her. Don't confront her again. Once we file, she'll lose her leverage. So I did. I logged into our shared credit card and found dozens of charges from boutique stores, hotel spas, and a luxury jeweler. All dates lined up with nights she'd claimed she was working late. Then something else jumped out, 3 separate charges from a fertility clinic 2 months earlier. My chest tightened. We hadn't talked about having kids in years. When I asked her back then, she always said, "Not now, maybe later." Why a fertility clinic? I called the clinic, pretending to confirm an appointment. The receptionist said, "Yes, Mrs. Lena Parker and Mr. Trent Holloway. The consultation fee has already been paid." It felt like someone pulled the floor out from under me. She wasn't just cheating, she was building a life with him. A future. Maybe even planning to have a child with him while still sleeping in my bed. I sat there for a long time, staring at the wall, until the anger came back sharp and clean. That night, I made copies of every document and sent them to 3 places. Her company's HR, her boss's wife, I found her email through social media, and Lena's own mother. It wasn't revenge for revenge's sake, it was exposure. I was done being the quiet, forgiving husband. 2 days later, chaos erupted. Lena called me from an unknown number, sobbing. "How could you? You ruined me. HR suspended me. His wife threw him out. Everyone at work knows." "You ruined yourself," I said evenly. "You're cruel," she spat, her voice shaking with rage. "I made one mistake, one, and you destroyed my career." "One mistake," I repeated. Was the fertility clinic part of that mistake too? There was silence on the line. Then a whisper, "Who told you that?" "You did," I said and hung up. My phone rang all night, her mother, even Trent once. I ignored every call. The next morning my mom smiled faintly over breakfast. "I always told you, Aaron," she said, "when people start hiding gold, it's never for themselves." I finally smiled back, though it felt strange. For the first time in weeks, I wasn't trembling anymore. Lena had built her entire world on lies. I just made sure she finally had to live inside them. The fallout came faster than I could have imagined. By midweek, Lena's entire office knew. HR launched an internal review, which was corporate speak for "we're firing you but pretending it's a process." Trent, her so-called mentor, was escorted out of the building the next morning. His wife, after getting my email, posted a long, furious Facebook rant that ended with, "To the woman who called my husband her soulmate, I hope you enjoy unemployment." Lena's perfect online image shattered overnight. Her Instagram went private, her friends stopped commenting, and even her mother, who once bragged about her daughter's class, stopped defending her. That Friday night, Lena showed up at my parents' house, pounding on the door. My dad opened it, stone-faced. "He doesn't want to see you," he said. She pushed past him anyway. "I just want to talk to my husband," she yelled. I came down the stairs slowly, my hands in my pockets. She was shaking, makeup smeared, eyes wild. "You told everyone," she said. "Do you know what you've done to me?" Only what you already did to yourself, I said quietly. She dropped her purse and collapsed onto the floor, sobbing. You don't understand. I lost everything. Trent's gone. My job's gone. My own mother won't speak to me. Please, Aaron, please, let's start over. I'll fix this. I'll do anything. I just looked at her. Start over? Oh, do you even know how to tell the truth anymore? She reached for my leg, gripping my jeans. I was stupid. I was insecure. You were always so calm, so sure. I just wanted to feel exciting again. I didn't mean to fall for him. I didn't mean for any of it to go this far. Lena, I said, you didn't fall for him. You fell for the attention. And you burned our marriage to keep it. Her tears turned angry again, sharp and loud. You think you're some hero now? You're just vindictive. You could have forgiven me. Forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting, I said. And I don't want to live in a house full of ghosts. My mom came out of the kitchen then, arms crossed. Lena, I think it's time for you to go, she said calmly. You've done enough. Lena looked at her, then at me, her voice trembling. You'll regret this, Aaron. You'll end up alone. No one will ever love you the way I did. I almost laughed at that. That's the point, I said. She stood up slowly, shaking her head, grabbed her purse and walked out. When the door closed, my mom exhaled, then looked at me. You did what you had to do, she said softly. Now stop staring at the wreckage. You've still got a life to live. I didn't feel victorious. Just empty. Like someone had ripped the color out of the world. That night, I lay awake in my old room, staring at the ceiling. For the first time in weeks, there were no texts, no arguments, no chaos, just silence. And in that silence, I realized something strange. Peace doesn't always arrive as joy. Sometimes it just comes as quiet. The silence after Lena left was louder than any argument we'd ever had. It filled every room, settled into every cup of coffee, every half-finished thought. For the first few days, I felt like I was floating through a movie set where all the actors had gone home. The kitchen still smelled like her perfume, her mug was still in the sink, her coat still hung by the door. Mom tried to distract me with chores, organizing the shed, fixing a leaky faucet, but grief doesn't care about productivity. It sits heavy on your shoulders, whispering reminders of everything you lost. Dad was quieter. He'd just nod sometimes, like he understood exactly what I didn't know how to say. He'd been through his own share of heartbreak long before he met Mom. Betrayal, he said one night, doesn't just change how you see someone. It changes how you see yourself. And he was right. I didn't know who I was without Lena. Not the version she loved or lied to or pitied, just me. I tried to sleep but kept seeing flashes of her face when she begged, when she lied, when she called me cruel. Then flashes of him, Trent, the man she thought was worth burning a marriage for. The thought made me physically sick sometimes. 3 nights later, I got a text from an unknown number. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me forever. I'm getting help. It was her. No context, no signature, but I knew that number. I didn't reply. I couldn't handle another lie dressed as an apology. Then came her family. Her mother called from a blocked number, voice shaky but defensive. Lena's not well, she said. You made her unstable. She was trying to be perfect for you, Aaron. You demanded too much. I almost laughed. Perfect? She was perfect at pretending. That's not on me. She's my daughter, her mother snapped. You don't understand how much pressure she's under. Then maybe you should have taught her how to be honest under pressure, I said and hung up. For the first time in years, I realized how twisted that family really was, always covering for one another, always making excuses instead of apologies. The next morning, I found a letter in the mailbox with Lena's handwriting. I almost threw it away, but curiosity won. Inside was a single page. I ruined the only good thing I ever had. Please believe I loved you. I just didn't love myself enough to stop. I stared at it for a long time. Then I folded it neatly, put it back in the envelope and dropped it in the trash. That evening my dad found me sitting on the porch, staring at nothing. You've done all the breaking, he said quietly. Now it's time to start building. He was right again. I couldn't stay in that hollow place forever. So I decided to leave town for a while, not to run away but to breathe somewhere she'd never been. I booked a cabin near Lake Tahoe, packed light, and told my parents I'd be gone a few weeks. When Mom hugged me goodbye, she said, "Don't come back looking for the old you. He's gone. Find the new one instead." And for the first time since this nightmare started, that sounded like something I might actually be able to do. Lake Tahoe looked nothing like the city I'd left behind. There was no noise, no perfume trails in the air, no constant buzzing of my phone. Just pine trees, clean water, and that hum of stillness that makes you realize how small you really are. The cabin I rented was simple. One bedroom, creaky floors, a deck that overlooked the water. The first night I didn't sleep much. Every time I closed my eyes I saw flashes of gold, her bracelet, her hair in that hotel photo, her fake tears shining under the kitchen light. But by the second morning the mountain air started to work on me. My chest didn't feel so heavy. I started hiking. At first just short trails. Then longer ones. Each step felt like pulling a nail out of my own heart. One afternoon, while resting on a rock overlooking the lake, I met a woman named Claire. She was sketching the view in a small leather notebook, a messy bun barely holding her hair up, graphite on her fingers. She told me she was an art teacher from San Francisco, spending the summer painting landscapes for a gallery show. We talked. Nothing romantic, just two strangers exchanging stories without the weight of the past. She asked what brought me there and I laughed. Bad decisions, I said. She smiled knowingly. Then you're in the right place. This lake's seen a lot of broken people put themselves back together. We started meeting up for hikes. She'd draw, I'd listen. She didn't pry and I didn't overshare. But one day she said something that stuck. You can't heal by proving her wrong. You heal by proving yourself right. That hit harder than I expected. Because until then, every step I'd taken, every silence I'd maintained, had been about punishing Lena, showing her she didn't destroy me. But maybe the real revenge wasn't indifference. Maybe it was peace. That night I made a small fire outside the cabin. I'd brought a folder of papers with me, copies of everything from the divorce process, the screenshots, even that printed photo of the engraved bracelet. Evidence of betrayal, proof of my pain. I watched the flames eat them one by one. The papers curled and blackened, glowing orange for a moment before collapsing into ash. The final one was her last letter. As it burned, I felt something I hadn't in months. Relief. Not joy. Not forgiveness. Just release. The next morning I woke before sunrise. For the first time in a long time, I didn't reach for my phone or think about where Lena was. I just watched the light crawl over the lake and thought, maybe this is what starting over really looks like. Later that day Claire and I walked the shoreline. She stopped to collect a few smooth stones, turned to me and said, "You know what I love about rocks? They get reshaped by pressure but never lose their core. They just change form." I smiled. "So you're saying I'm a rock now?" She laughed. "No, Aaron. I'm saying you finally stopped trying to be gold." And for the first time in years that didn't sound like an insult. It sounded like freedom. I'd been at the lake nearly a month when the past found me again. It always does, like a shadow that refuses to forget your outline. It started with a voicemail from an unknown number. I almost deleted it but something made me listen. "Aaron, it's me. Please don't hang up if you get this. I'm in town. I need to see you. I know I don't deserve it. But please. Lena." For the first time in weeks that name didn't make me angry, just tired. I didn't call back. But the next day I saw her car parked near the general store when I drove into town. I tried to ignore it but as I came out with groceries she was standing by the lake, arms wrapped around herself. She looked smaller. The sharp confidence she used to wear like perfume was gone. Her hair was messy, her makeup faint. When she saw me she smiled, that soft, dangerous smile I'd once loved, and whispered, "You look good." I said nothing. She stepped closer. "I heard you left your job. I wanted to make sure you're okay." I almost laughed. "You wanted to make sure I'm okay? You burned my life down, Lena." Her eyes filled but there was something calculated still hiding in them, a flicker of the old manipulation. "I lost everything too," she said. "You think I'm happy now? I can't even walk into a store without people whispering. I'm trying to start over." I thought maybe. She didn't finish. I cut her off gently. "You thought maybe I'd save you again." Tears rolled down her face. "No, I still dream about us. About how safe it felt before everything fell apart." "You made it fall apart," I said quietly. She nodded, biting her lip, then whispered, "I know. I was stupid. Trent's gone. He's in another state. He blocked me." She laughed bitterly. "Guess karma doesn't need a lawyer." We stood there for a long minute, the sound of the lake lapping at the rocks between us. Then she said, almost pleading, "Do you think I'm a bad person?" I looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't see the woman I loved or the woman who betrayed me. Just a person, broken, flawed, human. "No," I said finally. "I think you're someone who didn't know what she wanted, and you destroyed people trying to find out." She sobbed softly. "I wish I could take it back." "I know," I said. "But that's the thing about choices, you only get to make them once." I turned to leave and she grabbed my arm. Aaron, please. I just want you to know that I did love you. I still do. I looked at her hand, then at her eyes. Maybe. But love that lies isn't love I want anymore. And then I walked away. That night, back at the cabin, I sat by the water with a cup of coffee. I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I just felt calm. Like closing a book that had been open too long. I realized then that closure isn't a conversation. It's a decision. And I had finally made mine. The next morning, the lake was glass smooth, the kind of quiet that makes even your heartbeat feel too loud. It was the first sunrise in months where I didn't wake up to a ghost. No more messages. No more guilt. No more what ifs. Just me and the sound of the world breathing. I sat on the dock with my notebook, something Claire had given me a week earlier. Start writing again, she'd said. Not about her. About you. So I did. I wrote about the scent of pine needles, the way the air here tasted clean, the sound of water against wood. And for the first time in years, I didn't write about pain. I wrote about peace. When I looked up, Claire was walking toward me, coffee in hand, that same quiet smile she always carried. She sat beside me and said, "You saw her, didn't you?" I nodded. "Yesterday. Did it help?" I thought for a second. Yeah. Not in the way she hoped, though. It didn't fix anything. It just reminded me I don't need fixing anymore. She smiled. That's the trick, isn't it? You stop chasing closure when you realize it already happened inside you. We spent that morning talking about everything but the past, about her art, about how I was thinking of opening a small woodworking studio when I got back home. Something simple. Something mine. When she left that afternoon, she handed me one of her sketches, a charcoal drawing of the lake, framed by pines. At the bottom she'd written, "Even broken reflections can make calm water beautiful." That night I packed my things. Before leaving, I walked down to the dock one last time. The wind had picked up and small ripples danced across the lake. I tossed my wedding ring into the water. It sank fast, leaving only circles that spread wider and wider until they disappeared. Driving home the next morning, I didn't look back. A few months later, I opened that woodworking studio. Small space, nothing fancy, just the smell of sawdust and sunlight through wide windows. Mom visits sometimes, brings food, pretends not to check if I'm eating properly. Dad jokes that I finally turned peace into a full-time job. Every now and then I think about Lena. Not with anger anymore or love, just a quiet recognition of someone who was part of the story that made me stronger. I don't wish her harm. I just wish her truth. If you've made it this far, here's what I learned. People can lie to you, betray you, humiliate you, but they can't define you unless you let them. The worst thing about infidelity isn't losing someone else. It's losing yourself trying to make sense of it. But if you hold on long enough, you realize something beautiful. You weren't broken. You were just being reshaped. And one day you wake up beside still water, take a deep breath, and realize you finally made it to the other side.